Okay, thank you, Susie. It's going to be a real pleasure to teach you this concept that I have called how to give your authority a boost. And I've got a really great teaching presentation here. I'm going to do a quick screen share, but just as a matter of introduction, I think what you need to keep in mind is building your authority is your number one priority. And when you have an authority position that is elevated in the mind of your target audience, it helps all of your other marketing perform even better. So with that, I want to show you this powerful presentation on how to give your authority a boost. So everyone out there has some type of brand. Now, your brand might be spectacular and spotless, and it might need some work if you're just starting out. But a brand is not a logo and a website. It involves that. But I want you to be thinking through this teaching presentation that your brand really is what people think of you in their mind. It's their perception of yourself, your, yes, your website, but your persona. So when they see you as that trusted advisor, now that elevates their level of trust and confidence. So I want to start off with just a little bit of an introduction about myself. So I contribute to Forbes magazine, TED. I'm an award-winning podcast producer. I've got a podcast, Influential Entrepreneurs, which has over 650 episodes, and I've written 5 books on Amazon. And I've got a United States trademark on the phrase authority positioning portfolio. So I'm a family guy, church guy, love giving and serving our community and the people that I work with. And so I feel like there's a phrase that I forget where I heard it, but real is rare. And so what I want you to know is just, I want to bring some real teaching and enlightenment to you in this topic here today. This is not going to be long. I'm just going to roll through this presentation with just some questions, 3 easy questions. And number one, are you looking to grow your business? And you know what? There are some people out there that are like, yes, of course. And then there's some people that go, not really. I've got all the business I can handle. And here's where I will say to you, Susie's programs will help you realize how to streamline and lean and systematize your business if that's the case. What I will tell you is for most people, no matter how your personal brand or your corporate brand looks, you could use some authority positioning. So using the concept of, yes, I want to grow my business. Number 2 is, do you look for high value clients? Well, I hope you do. I hope you don't look for the smallest paying clients out there. You need to look for the highest value clients. Well, those prospects, those people you want to bring into your business, they want to work with the best. They want to work with experts. And then my question is, if I could show you a way to be seen as a celebrity expert in your niche or industry, do you feel that would attract more clients to you? I hope the answer is yes, but think of it like this. What if someone was referred to you because your friend had mentioned your name and they Google your name online and they see not much, or they see a website that looks kind of like a Craigslist website, just old 90s look, or, oh, you can email me at whatever at AOL.com. Their impression of you is not going to be very stellar. So thinking of this question, if you could be seen as a celebrity expert in your niche or industry, do you feel it would attract more clients to you? It should. It's going to give you more what I like to call at bats. Now, I'm not a baseball fan, but I do know that the more time you get at bat, the more chance you have to succeed. So who needs celebrity expert recognition? Entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, consultants, service professionals. You know what? This is no lie. Just this week, literally, I spoke to someone who is a heating and air contractor. He owns an HVAC company. He is elevating his brand. He is writing a book. He is launching a podcast. Well, how many HVAC contractors do you know when you need that help? Do you just go to the Yellow Pages in the old days, or online, or Angie's List, or whatever? If they showed up at your door, because hopefully you would talk to 1 or 2 of them, or 3 maybe, to compare. If they handed you a copy of their book, if they sent you a podcast episode where they told you all the tips and tricks of HVAC, do you think that that would make an impression? I think it would. So everyone needs celebrity expert recognition. Speakers, real estate, health, wellness, legal, finance, sales, and marketing. Anyone that is doing business with another human being needs to be seen as a trusted advisor. That's what we're here to talk about, because you need to remember, wherever prospects find you, they find your competition. The problem is getting them to choose you. What makes you stand out? If you do the same thing that your competition does, why are they going to choose you? You've got to give them a reason to stand out. Well, of course, look at all this. We can do all kinds of things, in your business to market. I don't do any of these. And you know what? Here's a little secret. I used to do most of these for clients. When I started my agency 11 years ago, I used to do all of this for clients, and I just got caught up in the cycle of I can do anything that you need. And then about 6 years ago, I said, stop. I don't do any of this. I do one thing: authority positioning, how to take marketing and make you look like a celebrity expert. That's where the success is. So I want to give you a quick case study of Stanley Milgram, who's a psychologist at Yale way back in the 60s. He did this experiment focusing on the conflict between obedience to authority and personal conscience. Now, this is really cool, really interesting. You can Google it and see in like Psychology Today, see all the details, but I want to give you an overview. There were 3 people involved, one running the experiment, who was like the person in the white lab coat and the clipboard, and then the subject of the experiment and a volunteer. Well, they would set it up and put someone in a room, and they would say, okay, you see that person over in the glass there, and they're at the table. You're going to say in the intercom, ask a question. They're going to answer it. And when I tell you if the answer is right or wrong, then if it's right, the green light lights up. If it's wrong, then they get this electric shock. And every wrong answer that they get, it gets more and more and more of an electric shock. In fact, it got up to supposedly they would be told 450 volts. That's like 50 9-volt batteries strapped together that you'd lick. That would be a shock, right? So here's this person being told by this researcher in a white lab coat and clipboard, okay, let's go, let's do this experiment. And if they started, getting the zaps, the person in the other room was, faking, they were an actor, but they were, getting in pain, and they were screaming out because the zaps would get worse and worse with each wrong answer. And they would, they were expecting, well, I want to stop. And the researcher would say, please continue. And they would keep going. The experiment requires that you continue. It's absolutely essential that you continue, and you have no other choice. You must go on. Well, guess what? They predicted that only 3.73% of the subjects would continue, but in Milgram's first set of experiments, 65% of experiment participants administered the final massive 450-volt shock. Now, 65%. Now, what is that? That's the correlation between authority figure and obedience. They're like, okay, I guess as part of this, you're the boss. So Milgram's experiment proved that the marketplace will blindly believe the words of an expert. This researcher, the person in the laboratory with the white lab coat and the clipboard telling me we've got to do this experiment. Now, here's another one. This is really powerful because this leads us right into what we're talking about with authority positioning. Canadian philosopher Marshall McLuhan, he wrote a book in 1967 called The Medium is the Message. He said the way we send and receive information is more important than the information itself. So where your content is seen gives as much value as the actual content. So think of it like this. If you have a solution to your target audience's problem, whatever that solution is, right? Whatever industry that you're in, if you were to distill that down into a 3-page Word document, save it as a PDF, and send it out to some people that have that problem, they might read it. And then if you put it on your website as a blog post, they might read it, but they don't get all excited about it because they know, oh, it's just an email. Oh, it's just a blog post. If you put it on LinkedIn or Facebook or social media, they're like, oh, it's just a post. If you read it in front of a camera and did a Facebook Live or a LinkedIn Live or a YouTube Live, they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Nice to see you. But they don't really get excited. And you know why? Because they know subconsciously and intrinsically that these platforms are just common. The barrier to entry is low. But if you can be seen on the world's most powerful platforms that elevate your brand to a whole other level, so the same content is now perceived as even more valuable. It's the same content. So it's what he says here, where your content is seen gives as much value as the actual content. That's a huge, huge point. I want you to really think about that. Let that sink in for a minute. So many times what you say to someone, they're busy, they're distracted. You want to have their attention focused on as much as possible on what your solution is. And sometimes what I will submit to you is they need to be seeing your brand elevated on the world's most powerful platforms. So here's problem number two. Problem number one is your prospects will find your competition. They need to choose you. Problem number two is everyone's attention is really, really, really quick, right? Back in 2000, it used to be 12 seconds, 2015, 8.25. I haven't seen the research in the last few years, but here in the 2020s and 2021, I'll bet it's less than 8.25 seconds. And why is that? Because people are busy. And what it takes to stand out in the marketplace is different than what it did years ago. Competition for your prospect's attention is super fierce. Think of it like this. It used to take months or weeks to make a decision. Now it takes days or hours or sometimes minutes. So look at the upper right here. Remember that brand, Blockbuster? What happened to them? Netflix. Hey, look at this lady paging through some records. Now, I will tell you, my 17-year-old son has 250 plus records. It's retro and cool now, but still, there aren't many record stores. Why is that? iTunes. And then look at this bookstore, Amazon. So what is it about these places is because it takes your attention and it makes people want that quick. So Netflix and iTunes and Amazon. And here's something that you need to remember, trust triggers. On Netflix, we've got the trending now and the popular on Netflix and iTunes, what's hot, and Amazon, customers who bought this also bought. Why is that important? It's super important because prospects and people, we all are experiencing the bandwagon effect, which means people want to do things that the crowd is doing because they know it's tested and tried and they don't want to get embarrassed. And they think, well, I'm justified because other people with similar interests as me are doing the same thing. And that's huge. But you know what? If you think about it, trust triggers are pretty much like the only thing that stands between Uber and hitchhiking. Have you ever used Uber before? You pull up the app and you get a car and here it comes 5 minutes later. You watch the little icon of the car come in and there it is. Here's some person's personal car. In fact, one time, no joke, I was in Miami and I ordered an Uber and the person pulled up and it was in the evening and she had to get the pizza boxes off of her front seat because she said, oh, sorry, I had to just take dinner to my kids. So you're getting to some person's personal car. It's like hitchhiking, right? But the trust there is the Uber brand. That's where we need to make sure that your brand is at such a high level that people intrinsically trust it, because people want to work with experts, and authority trust triggers position you as a recognized expert in your field. It makes it super easy for the conscious mind to justify working with you, even if it costs more. So now you see, remember those doors, and you want your prospects to choose you, even though all those doors are your competition, and you want yours to turn yellow so they go yes. Even if yours is a bit more, they know that your brand is trustworthy because they've seen you out and about, right? Online or speaking, or, oh, you've got some of these well-recognized platforms endorsing you. Because you saying you're an expert doesn't really work. You need to have trust triggers that are based on what's called an authority heuristic. It's how people make a decision. Like, I'm not going to go choose someone that is, not an obvious expert if I really need serious help. So we need to enable your target audience to determine your expert status for themselves. And we do that by creating an authority mindset. So authority is being an educator and an advocate for the success of your target audience. We focus on the success of our prospects. We empathize, we give value, we solve problems, we deliver results. And guess what? When that is done, people just subconsciously feel and see us as an expert. So I want you to think about something. And I know that Susie really preaches this in her lessons and teachings. Numbers, right? What's your revenue goal for the next 90 days? So just think about that for a second. What is your revenue goal for the next 90 days? What's your current process for moving an interested prospect into a paying client? Do you know your client's buyer's journey? The exact 3 to 5 questions that when they fully understand the answer to these 3 to 5 questions, they easily understand that you're the obvious choice. And then what's the lifetime value of a client for you? So whatever your revenue goal is, and whatever the lifetime value of your client. Now, hopefully, you know what that lifetime value is, because if someone buys from you a product or a service, you hope that they buy again, get a bigger package, refer people to you. That's the lifetime value. Well, that's a dollar figure. So that means that you should be willing to invest into a marketing campaign. Marketing is not an expense. It's an investment to secure a relationship long-term with a new client. that can buy again, increase their buying, and refer others to you. But the buyer's journey is really important. There, I guarantee you, if you spend a period of time, and this is where Susie can help, I know, what are the 3 to 5 questions that your prospects must understand? And when they understand those 3 to 5 questions, the light bulb goes off and they go, yes, what's the next step? That I want you to remember, keep in the back of your mind, because I want you to realize that when you are able to articulate those 3 to 5 questions, that's going to help you stand out from the competition, generate pre-qualified leads, get those referrals, become a subject matter expert. Is there any reason you wouldn't want to implement that in your business? Of course not. So here's what I'm going to show you. This package that I can implement for you, and I know Susie mentioned this to you, but this is a done for you package. This that you're staring at right here takes 20 minutes of your time. This is not me teaching you why this is important and here's how to go. This is you saying, yes, all of this makes sense. I do want to be seen as that expert on those professional, powerful platforms. This takes you 20 minutes where I put together this package to really polish up your brand. This is called the Authority Boost package. The first step is being interviewed on my award-winning podcast, Influential Entrepreneurs. And so I've done 650 interviews and episodes with thought leaders and New York Times bestselling authors. And now when I interview you, I spotlight your business. I spotlight just the solution you provide to your clients and target audience. I spotlight your competitive advantage, and I make you look like a superstar. And it gets syndicated out to Spotify and iTunes and Pandora and Audible and even Amazon Alexa. The second step is I write up a press release, a multimedia press release that you approve, but it has in the title of the podcast in the press release, your name, your business name. And now that is something that now when I write up a press release that you have been featured on this podcast, here's what you spoke about. Hey, here's a quote from you. Here's what you do in your business. And then all your contact information. And that gets syndicated out to dozens of online news affiliates of ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox. Wow, that's pretty powerful. And then number 3 is the Google authority positioning that happens because when the press release and the podcast interview are indexed and people Google your name, because think about it, you could pay some company a lot of money to do keyword-based search engine optimization. And I don't think that that is necessary because your business probably gets word of mouth and networking and referrals that way. So when they Google you or Google your name of your business, they need to see, oh yeah, of course your website, of course your LinkedIn, of course your social media, but they need to see, oh, look at this podcast. Oh, they were mentioned in the media. That positions your brand naturally. And then the last piece is a bonus. We do a one-on-one coaching call with me where I will get on Zoom with you and I will show you, okay, here is all of the authority positioning assets is what I call them. Here's the interview and here's the graphic and here's the press release and here's how I will show you how to use this in your business to get more clients. Simply 2 packages. Number 1 is the Boost, which is this package where I interview you and I do the press release. And then the second package is, ooh, I really thought that was really fun and easy. And the 3 to 5 questions in that buyer's journey, why don't we do this 3 times? So the Authority Boost is $497. The Authority Blast is $997. So it's really buy 2, get 1 free. And what we do in the Blast is we do the first one as the get to know you overview of yourself and your brand. And the next 2, we pick strategic topics that your target audience must understand about your business. And we go really deep on that one. And then on the third interview, we go really deep on the other point. So now you have 3 powerful authority positioning assets to use in your social media, email, website, but even more importantly, when people are connecting with you to come in and meet with you, maybe an online meeting, maybe an in-person meeting, and you send out that email confirmation, hey, looking forward to connecting next week. In the meantime, just thought you'd like to listen to this interview where I talk about. Or you remember when we were talking about that issue that we're going to talk about next week? I was interviewed on that very topic on this podcast. Take a listen and it'll help answer some questions. Number 1, it does help answer some questions. But number 2, it positions you as that expert before they walk in the door or have that meeting with you. So I recommend the Authority Blast, 3 interviews, 3 press releases on 3 powerful topics to position you as that expert. And your next step just click the link below this video and choose the package that resonates best with you. I look forward to working with you. I really know and feel that the ability, let me just stop screen sharing here, but the ability to be able to have your prospects instantly see you as that trusted advisor will help bring new business to you, close new business. And I'll tell you another benefit. It will boost your own confidence in your own self and your own packages. When you see these things happening and you put that out on social media and your clients and friends and family go, wow, nice job. It helps you walk a little taller, speak a little more confident. So I look forward to working with you. Make that decision and click on that button now. Have a great day.